Hi all, this is your Professor Ian. This is a short video. I'm going to talk about the feedback you have received for response paper number 1. So I've completed marking all your response papers, so you have feedback. Everybody has some kind of feedback, so please do look for that. Now you can find this if you go to the assignments tab. You should probably also find it under grades, modules. There's a number of different places you could find this. I think actually grades is probably easiest. You click on the assignment, it'll have like a grade and then a little feedback button you can press. And you want to go there. I'd strongly suggest using a laptop to access this feedback. In my experience, using a phone or other like devices, you lose some of the functionality of Canvas. It's unfortunate. So please, and it just becomes hard to navigate some of the feedback because you click on a comment and you have to click back, and it's just a lot of clicking, and it's not as easy. So if you can use a laptop or like a desktop computer, please try that. That's just my experience. You know, I take online courses too, and that's my experience with Canvas and feedback. It's not the greatest system, but on a laptop it works just fine. So I leave 3 kinds of feedback for you. This is from another course I taught, same course in the summer. So there's feedback on the paper itself, so like sentence level feedback, you know, commenting on ideas, giving you some just grammar suggestions. I don't do all the grammar stuff. I just want to give you some ideas about things to look for. MLA citation, I do leave some feedback on that. Your works cited page, you don't necessarily have to have one for the first paper. The second one you're going to require your required one, so look for that. There's feedback on the paper itself. There's the rubric, right, which gives you an idea of like which areas are working well, which could use improvement, that kind of thing. And then a video, short video. I try to keep them short. Sometimes I get talking too long, but I try to keep them, you know, under 3 minutes for these videos. Just a quick summation of what's working on the paper, what you can work on next time. So 3 kinds of feedback to look for. So please do use a laptop for that. I think that's the best way. Now, I want to talk about some strategies for improvement as well, if you want to try to improve your effort on these, because we're going to write 4 of these papers, and they're largely the same. They have some slightly different configurations. They're not exactly the same, but a couple things to think about. So the instructions, let me open up the instructions. Read the instructions carefully. There are some people who, missed parts of the paper. Be careful reading these. I use these accordion, I hope this is clear because this is where all the instructions are. And I'm trying to be very prescriptive in what I'm looking for in these papers, because we're working on very specific skills here, working on textual analysis skills. And with this first paper, we're also trying to, work with a variety of text, critical text, and, the primary fiction texts. So please do read through that carefully. I'm trying to be as clear as possible about what the paper should look like to work on these skills. Also, when you're looking at the instructions for papers, look at the rubric. I've included the rubric for each of the response papers. So this is exactly what I use when I grade your paper. That rubric I just showed you in the feedback. This is exactly what I'm using. So in this case, the first paper has 5 categories: material from the short story, the initial reflection, critical text, clarity of writing, and then those generic conventions. Right? So, again, I'm trying to be very transparent and clear about what I'm looking for and, how I'll be scoring these essays when they come in. So please do use that yourself. I've asked some questions here. Think about these questions and think about whether your draft answers these questions, does these things, right? Also, I put a sample out. I put in one of the announcements of an A-level paper. I think it was an A- paper. So it was doing a very good job, an excellent job hitting all these points. And, it's a good guide for your own paper. As well, with the generic conventions. So that mainly is referring to the resources that I've posted in each module. So each module has what we're doing that week and then response paper activities. And so for the first week, it's just the reflection and the instructions to look over. But in, let me go down here. This week, there's a resource about triac structure. And you should really check this out. This is a great way to structure a literary analysis paragraph. And it's what I'm looking for when I'm grading these papers. Are you following basically this structure? This is basically, you might not follow this exactly. That's fine, but this is basically how an analytical paragraph is structured. So please do check out these resources. There's resources every week, right? So this one had some resources about writing about literature, mainly about the literary present tense, which is something we use when we write about literature. There's nothing there, but if we come back down to our current unit, our current week, in fact, Los Vendidos, there's stuff about MLA formatting. So this is something I'll be looking for when I grade your second paper is, are you formatting your paper using MLA style in these ways, right? And all these resources are also contained here in the response papers module. So you can see, you know, for the first paper, there's stuff about triac, writing about literature. Here there's MLA stuff and stuff about using quotation marks and commas, right? Which is some skills. These are skills I'll be looking for in your second paper. So please do check those out. Those are, again, the writing mechanics generic convention part of the rubric. These are things I'll be looking for. And they'll also, in like a larger sense, this is something that academics use. These are ways that we write literary and, you know, literature papers, analytical papers focusing on literature. These are things that we do. That's why I'm focusing on these skills and trying to build through the semester, right? I'm not expecting you to do it all at once, but we are trying to layer on skills. So please do check those out. Oh, and finally, the number one strategy for really doing well on these papers is being specific, right? This is, English 1C is basically, I consider it a close reading class. We're practicing the skills of close reading. So working with text, analyzing text, unpacking text. That means that when you're writing these papers, you need to be super focused on that unpacking of text and that textual analysis. And again, you know, these things I posted here, especially like triac structure, that's really going to help you in like using quotation marks and quoting. These are really going to help you develop those skills to do that kind of close reading in a literary analysis paper. So anyways, that's about it for now. I talked about what to what your feedback looks like and some strategies for improvement. So please do consider that. Email me if you have any questions, any concerns. And otherwise, have a great week. Thank you very much.